Hi, mathematicians. My name is Dr. Papelka Brown, but you can call me Dr. PB if you prefer. That's what a lot of students call me, and it's totally fine. And I just want to talk to you really briefly about this first day student survey. So for the first question, it's going to ask you on the email address portion. Please, on the email, put the email address that you're actually going to check the most often. If that's your school email, great. If not, I'd like you to put a personal email in, if that's okay with you. But again, I'd really prefer for it to be an email address that you check the most often. And you'll see on here that the only questions that are mandatory, that means they absolutely have to be filled in, are the ones that have the red stars next to them, just in case you're not familiar with how Google Forms work. If there's a red star next to them, again, those are the only ones that are mandatory. And they're very basic questions, again, such as an email address, first name, last name, what period you're in. Every other question after that, you're going to see doesn't actually have a red star next to it. And that's because you don't necessarily have to answer them if you don't want to. I know that this is going to be a really weird year. The way we're starting, gosh, it still kind of blows my mind a little bit. So the more I do know about you, the more it will help me to be able to be the best teacher for you that I can this year. But I do understand if you don't necessarily, if there's some kind of information that you don't want to give me. So that is really okay if you don't want to. So again, the only ones you have to fill out are the stars, but again, it's very, very helpful for me to have as much information as I possibly can about you. And let's say that you are in the middle of putting in your information. So right now, obviously, we're on a Google Meet. You're in the middle of putting in your answers while you're waiting for me to join you. You've gotten your email address put in, your first name, last name, and you've chosen what period you're in. And then I say, hey guys, can we get back together again in order to have a conversation and talk about a few classroom expectations, et cetera, et cetera. You can actually save your work by scrolling all the way down and clicking the submit button, which you see right here at the bottom. Of course, right here. Sorry, my screen is doing something goofy. So the submit button right there, and it will actually save your responses. I will say that if you leave anything blank that has a red star next to it. So if you don't get your email address, I'll actually leave one blank so you can see what happens there. Let's say I didn't put my first name in. I go to try to click submit. And it's not messed up, like don't say, oh, it won't let me submit, something's wrong. It's just that I didn't put my first name in there, so it's not going to let me submit it without that piece of information. So if you get interrupted and you need to come back to this, whether it's right now during class or whether it's when you do it after school today, you can always save your work by clicking submit. And you will always be able to go back to finish it. And the way that you will do it is by going to whatever the email address is that you typed into that form. That's why I wanted you to use an email address that you check regularly. So I'm going to go right here to my personal email, and there will be something that says the sender is from Google Forms. And it'll say something along the lines of, thanks for filling out first day survey. And the way that you will keep working on it is you will click the edit response button. So you can see, I'll show you, I'll click the edit response. And it picks up exactly where I left off so that I can keep working on my survey. So if you have any questions, by all means, reach out to me while we're on the meet at this particular moment in time. But otherwise, go ahead and get started on that, please. And I'm so excited, even though I know this year is going to be a little weird, I'm so excited to get to know a little bit more about each and every one of you.